Hey guys, Will from Project BRZ here. Today I'm going to be doing some audio stuff in the car. So I've got, what have I got here? I've got new speaker to install and carbon car systems, carbon door, what do they call them? Carbon door skins. I think they've actually renamed them recently just to door skins. They've rebranded it so it's a brand on its own. But so basically what these are is they're sound deadening material which goes inside your door. And what that does is, well, it does a few things. It's the primary reason why most people purchase it is to increase the quality of their sound from their car audio system inside the car. And the way that works is it stops a lot of the acoustic energy being wasted by vibrating the skin of the door. Obviously, thin metal vibrates quite a bit, and you can feel, you get quite a lot of spill outside the car. It also helps the sound to project out of the door rather than echoing backwards, so you're getting more sound pressure coming through, which means you get more volume, and particularly low frequencies, bass frequencies come through more, so you'll get a little bit more bass from the same speakers. Now what I did was I've already installed the kit on the other side of the car, and I tested it out with the factory speaker initially as well, just to see what the difference was like. And it was really impressive. I won't include it in the video because it's too hard to tell, and it's not really a very scientific test using the camera's microphone to kind of demonstrate it. But it really is quite remarkable the difference that it makes. And I found the same thing with my previous car as well. The WRX had exactly the same effect. I remember I bought these expensive speakers for it, and I kind of thought, well, why did I bother? It sounds fine with the factory speakers now. So everything that you need to install it comes in the kit. Pop the top off here. And in the other side it came with a screwdriver, which obviously you'll need, and this really cool non-marring little pry tool here as well, which is great for popping little panels off and that kind of thing without damaging your car. So what I'll do is I'll pull it out and show you exactly what we have here. So, alright, so the kit comes in two layers. You've got the front layer which sits on the front skin of the door, and then you've got the little individual pieces which go on the outer skin of the wall, the outer skin of the door being this part. So you've got the layer that's behind the window and then the layer that's in front of the window. So you've got passenger door top right, passenger door top left, passenger door bottom right, and passenger door bottom left. So these are cut to the exact right size as initially from the factory, so that's nice and easy, and you can just pass them through the door passages to install, but I'll show you how to do that as well. So yeah, everything, like I said, everything you need to install it is in the kit, so let's get to it. So the first thing you need to do is use your little pry tool. You need to pop this little panel open here to reveal the screw hole there. You need to pop this guy here as well, so he just kind of works his way out. Pop that out and put it down on the floor. Now this is a tricky one. You've got to pop this out. There's a little channel underneath here which you fit your pry tool into, and you can just kind of pop it out. Now it is a little bit tricky to do. There is a bit of a knack to it, so I won't film myself doing the whole thing. I'll come back when I've got it off, but what you do is basically pop it out and then just pull it along. Okay, so once you've popped the bottom, you can kind of just pull it out and be really careful. Don't just yank it, because there is a couple of clips up here that you could break. So you just kind of pry it slowly. There we go. It does come out in a hurry, but as long as you're careful, it won't snap it. There is quite a bit of reinforcement there, but it is a little bit scary the first time you do it. You do feel like you're going to break something, but as long as you're careful, it won't break. So pop that down to the side. Grab your screwdriver again, and we want to undo these two screws. Pop them down. Undo this screw. Pop him down and undo this screw. And pop him down as well. So that's all you actually need to undo to get the door card off. Now, the next stage is kind of just prying around the outside to pop the little rivets that are inside. So kind of work your way around the door. Now they are quite stiff, especially if your car's new, so it does require bit of force. There we go. You just work your way around. There we go. So that's all of them. You'll feel when it gets loose, so don't try to lift it before it's loose. And then what you need to do is you just need to wiggle it up, slide it off like that. And there's a few connectors that you need to undo inside. So what I'll do is I'll move the camera around and try to show that to you as best I can. So you've got your connector there, which is on the which is the mirror switch, or sorry, not the mirror switch, the window switch. And you got these two connectors here as well, which you simply, I'll try to get the focus, you simply pop it out and lift it up. Right, and same with this one, you flick the switch to locked position, pop it out, and just lift the ball joint out. And that's as simple as that. And then with the window switch, you might need to use a pry tool. I probably won't be able to do this two-handed or one-handed, but you just push the pry tool down on that, push down the connector, and just pop it out. And there's one more connection which I forgot, which is the connector on the light here as well. So we just need to undo that as well. So put that down. Easy. So that's how you take the door skin off. So we'll set that aside. All right. So the next thing you'll need to do is take the speaker out. So that's really simple. You just push the little tab on the side. And lift the connection out. Unscrew the 3 screws that are holding it in place. One. The other thing you'll probably want to do while you're doing this as well is switch off your interior light so that you don't run your battery dry while you're installing everything. And make sure you put all the screws in a place where you'll remember where they are. Now the speaker screws are longer than the screws that go in the door that we took out, the 3 screws that we took out earlier. So you'll have 6 screws in total. The 3 longer ones are for the speaker and the shorter ones are for the door. So make sure you don't get them muddled up. The speaker just pops out like that. So that's it, speaker's out. The next thing you need to do is take off all of this plastic. Now this is here from factory for waterproofing. It stops water that goes down in the door panel from penetrating through, and vice versa. It stops any water that gets in this. Well, it's probably more water that gets in this side coming out and damaging the electronics and that kind of thing. So if your car's relatively new, it should peel off relatively easily and not leave too much residue behind. One more thing is that this here is your airbag sensor for the door, so be careful not to damage it or bump it too hard in the process. Now it's very unlikely that you'd actually cause anything to happen, but I like to be on the safe side. So this black stuff does come off pretty easily. You just kind of pull it off. And rather than trying to get around the connectors, it's easier if you just tear the plastic around the connectors. So we can do that here. We just stick our finger in, just tear it. You can see it's a bit messy, but it's coming off pretty cleanly for me. This car's a 1.5 years old now, but it's hardly been driven, so you can see that black stuff just comes off like that. Work that way around. Make sure we don't yank this cable, so tear the plastic again here. Come back to that. Alright, so you can kind of just use this to dab it off. It's pretty simple. You just get this part off as well. Again, being careful that we don't damage that connector. And Simple as that. So the 4 smaller pieces are going to be going inside the door panel here in the corners. We'll take this little panel off here as well, and then we can get our hand in. And so you can see what I mean now by the outer skin and the inner skin. So your main panel goes on this inner skin, and then the rest of it goes in here. So what you'll need to do first of all is get well, it doesn't really matter what order you do it in. So we got passenger door bottom left, so that would be in there. Now this one's going to be a little bit trickier than it was on the other side, but what we do, well, the way I did it was I peeled the other thing you'll need to make sure is that the inside of your door is nice and clean as well. If it's dirty, just give it a clean with some spray and wipe or something like that, just so that the skin sticks to it nicely. So all we need to do is just kind of drop it in like that. Try your hardest not to let it stick to anything while you're passing it through, because once it sticks, it's quite difficult to, especially to itself. It sticks to itself very easily, so if you get it creased up, it's very hard to manipulate it back into the right configuration. But you can see there, just kind of drop it in to the corner, get one corner kind of stuck, and then you can use your hand through here to kind of tighten it as you go, and just press it onto the door panel once it's in the position that you want. Obviously being careful not to bump the airbag sensor too hard as you go. And that's that one done. So that's nice and simple. Passenger door bottom right. So same story again, we'll peel the outer skin off. And this one's a little more tricky. We kind of pass it through the speaker hole, being careful not to fold it back on itself. And a little bit further. There. And then the easiest way is to just kind of line it up with one corner first, so you can see, so you've got a reference point, and then just get one edge flat, and then run your hand along the top, and then once you're happy with it, just press it down. Simple as that. Make sure you press it down nice and stiff against the door, like so. Okay, so then we've got passenger door top left, which is this one. This one's actually relatively easy because you've got all this armature here. Now obviously you want to make sure your window is up as well when you do this. If your window is down before you pull all your door apart, then you're going to have all sorts of problems. You won't be able to get behind it. So peel that off. Now this one I kind of dropped down first, give myself a bit of space to work. Pop it through there, making sure I don't crease it on itself, and lift it back up, stick my hand through this side, maybe through here. It's a little bit fidgety, but it's not that difficult. Alright, so now I've got a grip on it and it's not sticking to anything inside. I can kind of lift it up into position. Now this one I want to line up with the bottom panel and slide it over behind this connector as far as I can. Go behind there. Push it up behind all this electronic stuff, and then once we're happy with the position, just press it on. There we go, easy. And make sure that the corners in particular are pressed on nice and stiff. And then the last one, passenger door top right. This one I think I'll probably go through the speaker and up behind this window armature here. We'll see. So take that off. Through the speaker hole, stick a hand in here to bring it up. Well, maybe that's not the best way to do it. Maybe I'm better off doing it this way. Now, just got to be really careful not to crease it on itself. Because if you crease it on itself, it is very difficult to get back off again. Alright, so I'm just going to kind of pass it down. There we go. Alright, making sure it's not stuck to anything. Go through this way. Alright. So now I've got it in a good position that I can work on it and I can line it up with that previous side. And again, once I'm happy with the position, just press it down. Now it's very important. It doesn't matter if you crease it a little bit in a few places and make it a little bit fatter than it needs to be, but what you do need to be careful of, obviously, is that you don't get in the way of the window at all. If it gets in the way of the window mechanism, then your window will not open or close, and that will not make your day fun. So that's the inside skin's done. The outside skin on this side is a lot easier than the driver's side. The driver's side, you've got to obviously pass a few other things through, but that said, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be passing the two cables through this hole here. That one's going to go through this hole. That one is going to go through this hole, and then the speaker wiring is going to go through this hole here. And it's really important, obviously, that the other holes all line up as well. So what I'll do first is I will pass this through the relevant hole. And that's going to line up with that hole there. Obviously, these need to line up very carefully as well, otherwise you'll have problems with them. You know what, I might actually just leave that floating outside the hole in this case, I think. Yeah, I'm just going to leave that loose. So, we're running along like that. Make sure that that lines up. All the speaker holes line up. That lines up, so this goes through here. Like that, making sure we don't get tar inside. Okay. So once we're happy with the position, we can just kind of hold it there and start to peel the backing off. Now, I didn't peel the whole backing off at once because I didn't want to get stuck further down the line and then find that I couldn't backtrack. So, like before, we want to start with one side and kind of work our way back. Easier if it doesn't tear, but in my case it did tear. That's okay. We'll just tear the back around the connectors. We don't want to go too far to begin with. Just far enough that we've got something that we can start. Okay. So bring this through and line up the initial holes. Going to go there. That needs to drop down a little. Okay, so that's lining up nicely. Looks like everything is going to be fine with that position. Alright, so we're confident now. We're just going to poke that speaker wire through as well. Speaker wires through. Okay, so now we've got our angle right. We've got enough stuck down that we can see that we're going to be okay. We'll push that down. Now we can start to peel the rest back. So again, it's a lot easier if it doesn't tear, but if it does tear, it's not the end of the world. Again, just being careful that you don't crease it on itself. So, okay, so that's far enough for there. We'll just line up the top, working our way along, making sure that all the holes line up properly. We're not blocking any screw holes. It's fine. That's fine, that's fine, that's fine. You just don't want to push it down too early until you've checked that everything's lining up. Okay, so we can see all of our screw holes are fine. So we should be good to go the rest of the way now. So we'll peel that off. Peel that off. You can see the backing peels off really easily. Yeah, I'll just double check that I've got it all. One more little bit here. That's it. So, making sure that we don't block these. Line it up at the top. The screw holes are fine. We're not blocking anything. Stretch that down a little bit. You might find you need to stretch it a little bit in a few places just to make it fit, but that's okay. That's not a big problem. Alright, just run around it, make sure everything's stuck down. Speaker cable's there. And again, being careful that you don't push it through the holes because, oh, one thing I did forget to do. Whoops. That was a bit of a mistake on my part. Forgot to put this panel back on. Got to put that back on. So. Lucky I realised before I put the whole doll back together. So it shows the importance of checking everything before you press down too hard. So that's all fine. You might get a few creases here and there, it's no problem. Just as long as all your screw holes are accessible. So you can see it's a really nicely fitting kit. Everything fits really easily. Alright, so the next stage, you just want to roll the skin around your speaker hole, just to make sure that your speaker will still fit through there. Just kind of rolling it up there, I don't know if you can see. And then we drop our speaker in, making sure that the terminals line up properly. It is a bit of a snug fit, but it's all good. Plug it in. So, and then we get our 3 long screws. Now you can see here I've got an aftermarket speaker in the factory mount here, and I've put up another video already earlier in the week which shows you how to do that. So if you're interested in how I sorted that out, then check out that video. So I'm not putting these screws in tight to begin with. I'm just making sure that they bite first before I tighten them down, and that there's no alignment issues. And then once I'm confident, I can tighten them up. I'm not going to tighten them fully. Just go around in a circle, tightening a little bit at a time until I'm happy that they're not cross-threaded, and then I can tighten them all the way down. Now if you're not confident with your wiring, this is a good stage to turn your stereo on and just make sure that everything's working. But I've tested these speakers previously, so I know that there's not going to be any issues. So just make sure that those are nice and tight. Yep. Don't over tighten them because they're plastic threads on the receiving side. Alright, so that's as simple as that. So we want to just make sure that everything's stuck down nice and firmly. There's no rips or tears, there's no cables that are blocked. It looks like we're fine. So we'll go get the door skin. Alright, so as before, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this one last because it's only a very flimsy cable and I don't want to snap it. So what I will do is I'll start with these guys. So the white one is the top. We drop it into the little hole. Pop it in. One, two. Okay, so those are done. Window switch plugged in. Now be very careful you don't accidentally tear your speaker cone while you're doing this as well. Now what we need to do is we need to kind of lift that up, and you kind of have to slide it into the position there. And it starts on this side. You can feel it kind of slides in, and you come over this side, and you'll need to push it back towards the door a little bit. You can see there it just dropped back down. Make sure that that's down nice and tight, and then swing the bottom out. Plug your door back in, so. And then making sure that no wires are being pinched anywhere, and that all of our little tabs line up. Just give it a smack. Now it does require a little bit of force, but everything's plastic, so as long as you make sure that your clips line up before you start bashing it, you're not going to break anything, so don't be scared of that. Oh, there's one more. So you'll be able to just feel around, feel if there's anything that feels like it's got pressure on it. And it's that simple. So now we've just got our 3 screws that we need to put back in. So the first screw is the door lock. Pop that closed again, like so. The 2 door handle screws. 1, 2. Make sure that they're nice and tight, but don't over tighten them because again they're plastic threads. You don't want to strip those plastic threads because you'll never get a bite again. And also because you've got the added thickness of the sound panels in there, the sound deadening, they will not quite tighten. This bottom one in particular feels a little bit funny when you tighten it again. So just tighten it so that it's resisting but not stripping, because if you keep turning it, it will strip the thread. This guy goes back in, the little plastic clip. Just pop him back in. Make sure you align the little divots so that you can get to them again if you need to undo it again. Pop that in. And then once you're happy that everything's back together, slide that top part in like so. And there's a little metal clip here. You've got to make sure that that aligns with the clasp here. If it's too low, then you'll have problems getting it back on. So make sure all your clips are aligned, that nothing's fouling, and then just pop it back in like that. And that's it. So one other thing I will just show you quickly is the difference that it makes. You can hear that knocking is a really dull kind of knock, and then you go back to this panel and it really echoes. So you can imagine the difference that that's going to make to projecting all the audio back into the car. Now, the other thing that this will achieve also is reducing the road noise quite a bit as well. So I'll do a bit of review of that as well. All right, guys, so that's how you install the kit. I've just taken it for a drive, installed both sides, and it's definitely made a difference to the ambient noise inside the car as well as the sound quality. So yeah, really happy with it overall. If you're interested in picking one up, it's www.carboncarsystems.com.au to order one for your car. And yeah, hopefully this video has been useful for you if you're looking at installing a kit or any other sound deadening or speakers or anything that involves taking the door panel off. So yeah, like and subscribe to like the video, subscribe to the channel. Make sure you follow us on Facebook as well, www.facebook.com/ProjectBRZOz. We've also got Instagram as well, Project BRZ Oz on Instagram. So yeah, make sure you like and subscribe if you like us and what we're doing. And thank you very much for watching, and we will see you next time.